Get ready for the live service! My name is Discourse and let's talk about why Warhammer Seasons spell disaster for, well, Warhammer. And using our new innovative multi-platform season model, we will accelerate player recurring investment by maximizing end-user engagement through leveraging accelerating metrics to optimize the lifetime value of users for our platform. Combining an agile development style with our existing print products, this new ecosystem will synergize with accelerating market requirements. Indeed, we estimate that by 2023, the system will be optimized. At that stage, all our products will be out of date by the time they leave the printer. What the hell's this thing? Hey everyone! Wow, Games Workshop sure are starting 2022 with a bang, aren't they? And I'm not talking about the toy railgun here either! So, if you missed it, Games Workshop went full mask off last week and just said, yeah, f*** it, Warhammer's a live service now. So I hope you're going to enjoy your subscription-based Warhammer 40k. Oh boy. This is Warhammer Seasons, and we're about to see a whole load of new books. The first of which is Vigilus Alone, which follows on from an 8th edition campaign book. Did you just start playing Warhammer this year? Well, too bad, keep up! And this book comes with new Crusade rules, a new Army of Renown, and a special campaign. Then there's also the chapter-approved mission pack, which will, and I'm quoting here, provide the framework for the next 6 months. Then there's also the Crusade mission pack, which comes with more narrative missions, I guess, and that's being sold separately for some reason. Why does any of this exist? Why is any of it being made? And why is it all being sold separately? So it seems that Warhammer Seasons is basically a bunch of books that will each be sold for around $40 and last for 6 months at most. Seriously, they're explicit about this. Each book is designed to last for a season. Each season is 6 months. Then they're all out of date and you need to buy into the next season all over again. It's just planned obsolescence. So now you too can experience the joy that is buying a codex a week before a new one releases. On demand. Yay! Why are they selling points value updates? Hello? Email exists. And the thing is, a lot of people are defending Games Workshop on this by saying that it's basically what they do anyway. Warhammer Seasons are just Games Workshop being explicit about their practices and giving it a new marketing buzzword. Yeah, this is a complete doubling down of the Games Workshop marketing strategy. That's the problem. In my lifetime, I have watched Games Workshop go from a company that would show you how to create free terrain from trash in its books to one that now sells terrain with stats and tells you cannot play with anything else or else the game will explode. And then doesn't even include the stats for the terrain with the terrain. You have to buy those separately. This is a games company that bans older editions of its own games from its own game stores for the fear that you will enjoy something that they cannot claw money from you right now, this very instant. What? Warhammer Fantasy? In here? A Warhammer store? How outrageous. You gave us money for this product 5 years ago. No, that won't do. Now here's Age of Sigmar 3rd edition. Take your Stormcast Eternals and enjoy it. Boy, the squatting of my Beastmen just got a lot scarier. I can't wait to not be allowed to play with them in a few years. So yes, when Games Workshop announced the Warhammer Seasons, I despaired. Because it was truly the final nail in the coffin for Games Workshop. It was the final piece in the puzzle. The culture of the company has completely moved on. Something we probably should have seen coming with the hiring of a Hasbro executive. In a lot of ways, this is the natural conclusion of the bloated, convoluted mess that Warhammer has become across 9th edition. So much for being the most streamlined version of Warhammer. Indeed, the culture of Games Workshop has changed and the game has become an endless treadmill filled with dollar signs. And Warhammer Seasons is the latest exemplar of that that philosophy. It all reveals the underlying content strategy of Games Workshop. Milk 'em hard and milk 'em fast, cause them teats is going dry. You see, Games Workshop are a very short-term oriented company. They see the money and they want it, no matter the cost. And damn the long-term consequences. Warhammer Seasons is just another excuse to funnel money from you, the consumer, into their pockets. Forever. Well, not forever. More like until you've been pushed so hard you're willing to hijack a news station, go on the news and scream that you're mad as hell and you're not gonna take it anymore. So, basically, this channel. Warhammer Seasons are not part of the game. They are part of the platform of Warhammer. Games Workshop don't care about the game. The balancing and game design decisions reflect that. Warhammer is merely a cash delivery platform for Games Workshop. And wow, it's effective. Games Workshop aren't a miniatures company. Games Workshop aren't a games company. Games Workshop are a cash money company. And they see cash money emerging from the IP that is Warhammer. So, they are trying to draw lore fans into buying books with rules and games fans into buying books with an ongoing story. In short, they are trying to milk both teats at the same time. They want your milk. Are you gonna give it to them? Warhammer Seasons is a multi-platform business venture designed to create recurring revenue from high user engagement. And oh god, I want to throw up. Yes, those are the types of words that were no doubt floated around the office when this little number was cooked up. The word game and fun was very far from the lips of executives. Warhammer Seasons are designed to make more money from existing power users, or wheels, i.e. people who are unable to control their spending. And it's hard not to see why Games Workshop are doing this. It's because it's going to make them lots and lots and lots of money. We have known from a long period of time now that whales, a small percentage of users who spend the largest percentage of cash, are a good way to make lots of money with very little effort. Whales are the kind of people that the mobile game industry has been ripping off now for years. And Games Workshop absolutely love them. But in a sort of domestic abuse kind of way, so long as they keep spending, they'll continue to adore them.
Sure, my pudding's a little temperamental, but gee, what relationship doesn't have its ups and downs?
In the business, this is known as player recurring investment. And it's the core business model of Games Workshop and heroin dealers, finding ways to get the biggest fans to keep giving them more and more and more money. The challenge for Games Workshop is to keep them hooked on the treadmill. You can see a microcosm of this if you ever look at the release schedule of Games Workshop, because you'll notice that, well, it's all Space Marines. Why risk spending time on other factions when they can continue to cater to the majority Space Marine players? That's why we constantly see new Space Marine lieutenants. It's to make you dip into your pocket at least once a month. Games Workshop want wheels to keep buying and buying and buying, to get into the habit of buying. Like Pavlov's dog, except in space. Wheels are kept on a drip feed of content. But this is a profoundly conservative strategy, and it will ultimately lead to the decline of the game. You see, players have a lifetime value to Games Workshop. And this lifetime value is how long they'll stick around to play the game and how much they'll pay to do so. And traditionally, Games Workshop have erred on the side of trying to claw as much money from you as possible, as fast as possible, and then discard you like yesterday's lunch. They've never been long-term oriented. They've always been happy to churn through their player base. Lots of people leave, but who cares? Games Workshop have bled you dry as much as possible. Then they use their retail outlets to draw in a new generation of unwitting consumers. But in 2020, Games Workshop realized that there's a whole group of previously tapped consumers who could be bled dry again, if the circumstances are right. And sure, they can't exactly manufacture another global health crisis, but they have certainly turned their attention to figuring out how to keep players buying and buying and buying. They're not content with you buying an army of miniatures and a codex every few years now. They have left that archaic business strategy behind. what, create interesting products? No, I don't think so. Instead, they're indulging in all the commercial innovations that we've witnessed over the last few years. Things that we've seen in other industries. Forget building fun games, we need engaging content. You know, the type of content that will just grab your attention and never let go. Because hey, if you do drop out, you'll have lost all that investment in the games and you'll never be able to catch up. So, you know, stick around. Keep up with the current or go under. Warhammer seasons are designed to extract as much money as possible over the longest period of time. It's optimized. But can everyone keep up with this? Bear in mind that this style doesn't include the endless new miniatures. Sure, we're getting an Eldar versus Chaos box and a new Kill Team box as well, all themed on this new season. Called it, by the way. But I'm sure there'll be plenty of new Space Marines or Dragons or whatever each month as well. Seasons are now bringing the engagement strategy to the very rules of the game, to the core requirement of play. But this course, you haven't thought of the designers. The designers need to get paid. Well, they're not getting paid. They're not getting paid by Games Workshop from this money. The money from these books are not going anywhere near the designers or writers. It's going straight into executive pockets, shareholder dividends, or into the massive money pit that is Warhammer Plus. Designers are on a wage that does not go up in relation to Games Workshop's profits. A wage that will likely not pay more for overtime. I mean, we're going to see the beginning of crunch culture here, if it's not already prevalent at Games Workshop. Especially with a schedule like this, every 6 months, that's the hard deadline. Anti-consumer practices like this never help writers or designers, or anyone in the creative industries. The only people rubbing their hands together with glee when predatory practices like this are implemented are executives. And besides, this style of engagement isn't sustainable anyway. The concept of seasons costs far more than just money. It only works if it's able to grab as many wheels as possible and keep them paying for as long as possible. The moment that the big spenders fall off the train, this whole thing crumbles down. Which means therefore the Games Workshop are incentivized to keep them paying using every single dirty trick in the book. Seasons are addiction-based gameplay. They're designed to tap into that feeling of gotta keep up, gotta pay more, gotta get more stuff. If you've ever stopped to take a breath and look at the relentless release schedule of Games Workshop, then you'll know what I mean. January 2022 alone will have a Genestealer Cult Codex, a Custodes Codex, probably a Tau Codex, more Space Marine models, Orc models released, Age of Sigmar Battle Tomes, and more. Hell, December was a quiet month, and it came with dragons, Battle Tomes, special Christmas miniatures, the Shadow Throne box set, etc, etc, etc. YouTubers like Auspex Tactics basically exist off the fact that there is so much Warhammer stuff happening all the time that the only way to keep up is to watch a PowerPoint presentation on what's new every single day. And right now we're sort of saved from all of this by the fact that most new content will only be relevant to a certain number of players. You can safely ignore most releases if you're an Eldar player, but no one who wants to keep up can ignore seasons. Space Marine players, Orc players, Eldar players are all invested. They will all be compelled to buy these books. Half of them will be doing so before they even have a 9th edition codex. And the other half will be doing so to buy the DLC that was siphoned off from their codex books in order to fluff up these season products. And I'm sure there's plenty of people who have bought new rule books or bought outside of their faction, not to even play with the new rules, but because, well, they're new and they're more recent and they feel like they're needed to create a complete product. It's hard not to worship at the cult of the new. I know I have, and I'll feel compelled to keep up with these seasons. But not in a fun, oh ho, I sure love dopamine kind of way. It's more like an exacting toll on my soul. You gotta pay the troll toll. I'm tired. But I'm not sure these seasons are going to be as successful as Games Workshop think. They're being billed as a living story, but do we need that? Does Warhammer need a living story? Is that how most people engage with the game? I don't think so. The game used to be about creating your own little dudes, customizing your forces, and fighting your own battles. But that mindset has changed so much now. GW are constantly focusing on big centerpiece models, creating miniatures of named characters, and constantly generating new narrative storylines. But I don't care about Vigilus. I just want narrative rules for playing generic urban combat, so that I can apply that to my own games. So I would prefer something like City Fight, something that is designed to last longer than 6 months. But Games Workshop want me to buy the Vigilus specific rules, so that in 6 months down the line they can sell me the Karnos specific rules, and then next year they can sell me the Bagubi specific rules. And how do I know which one is for me? I only have so much time to dedicate to the hobby, and I play games other than Warhammer, and increasingly lots of other people are trying out non-Warhammer games as well. And these new Warhammer seasons, well, once you fall off the treadmill, it's hard to get back on. It doesn't slow down for anyone. 6 months and the new one's out. But 6 months is not a particularly long time, and I have spent longer periods without playing a single 40k game. And this is me, literally someone who created a YouTube channel around the miniature wargaming hobby. If I don't have the time, and let me tell you, I don't have a lot else going on, then who the f does? If they're hoping to count on the people who have bought every single rulebook and never played the game, I don't know, that feels kind of risky to me. Games Workshop are actually gambling quite a bit here. They are really banking on making money from the same audience, because these seasons will not grow the game. They think that in 2020, lots of people joined the hobby. Warhammer Seasons is their chance to exploit them. They don't care about acquiring new customers. But Warhammer Seasons is going to make the game even more inaccessible. Warhammer is getting harder to start. Are we seriously going to add this season's rulebook on top of the required components to start playing? Was a rulebook, a codex, hundreds of dollars worth of miniatures not enough to keep people away? Games Workshop are going to lose people in the long term, and they're making it harder for new people to jump aboard. The game is going to enter a slow death spiral if Games Workshop truly commit to this model. Yay? And this is all before we get into the ramifications for the competitive side of Warhammer. Committing the game to new rules every 6 months is awful. Already the game suffers for being more complicated and bloated than 7th edition. And this is meant to be the streamlined version of Warhammer. And it got to become such a mess because Games Workshop's release schedule does not allow them to fix mistakes quickly. And yet they are compelled to continually release more and more rules. With Warhammer Seasons, that's going to get even worse, because now they have to release a new book every 6 months, whether the game needs it or not. Why would we celebrate that? Why would anyone sensible commit to that? So yeah, sorry, I don't see the upside to Warhammer Seasons. I actually find them quite depressing, to be honest. They sort of remind me of time-limited events in MMORPGs. Do you want to play the cool stuff? Best do so while it's available. Welcome to the living story. Here today and gone tomorrow. Warhammer is giving us deadlines. Who wants that from a hobby? I think I'd prefer to play on my own schedule, thanks. And if any of this resonated with you, please check out my Patreon at patreon.com/discourseminiatures. And consider supporting the channel in my mission to help fight for consumers in the miniature wargaming hobby. And if you want to see more content like this, subscribe to the channel. And a huge thank you to my patrons as always, and I'll see you next time. Bye bye!